Welcome to Healing with Her, the podcast where women in medicine share bold and honest conversations from the front lines of healthcare. Step into the world of Black women medical professionals as they unpack the power of healing, the weight of care, and the beauty of showing up whole.
Welcome to Healing with Her, the podcast where women in medicine share bold, honest, and healing conversations from the front lines of healthcare. I'm your host, Dr. Pamela Reed, and I'm thrilled to have you here with us. Whether you're a healthcare professional, someone passionate about wellness, or someone who is looking to gain more knowledge about your own health and well-being, you'll find stories that resonate, educate, and inspire. This podcast was born from a shared truth. Healing isn't just about medicine. It's about connection, listening, and leadership. And who better to lead those conversations than women physicians? The information shared on Healing with Her is intended for educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of your physician or other qualified healthcare professional with any questions you may have regarding your health. The views expressed by our podcast are those of the hosts and guests and only their own, and do not necessarily reflect those of their institutions or employers. So what we thought we'd do tonight was to discuss those New Year's resolutions that everyone made, right? So that the title of this is Resolutions Reimagined. So what we thought we'd do is to talk about those 3 healthcare related resolutions that were at the top of everyone's lists. And so those 3 were exercise more, improve mental wellness, and eat better.
Yeah.
And so we thought we'd talk about those 3 elements of the resolutions that people have made. And this episode is really for anyone who made the resolution and didn't start it, who made the resolution and then stopped, or who's still going, right? And we're at that 30 days. So, they say anytime you want to change a behavior, you give it 30 days.
Yes.
If you can do it every day for 30 days, it switches from something that you're trying to something that becomes part of your life, right? And we all have some form of resolutions that we make, right? And so I thought we'd introduce the panel first, and then have everyone talk about a behavior that they sought to change this year, last year, 10 years ago, whatever it might be, and how you went about that, hopefully in a successful manner. And so we'll start here with Dr. Sosa.
Am I introducing myself?
You're just introducing yourself.
Oh, okay. I am Jalise Sosa. I'm an OBGYN at the Golisano Children's Hospital of Buffalo.
And I'm Dr. Pamela Reed. I am a retired internist.
And I'm Dr. Emmy Kool-Nylander with Buffalo OBGYN.
And I'm Dr. Melissa Neal, and I practice dry eye and aesthetic medicine in my own practice.
So Dr. Neal, we'll start with you.
Okay.
Some behavior change that you've made in the past, and whether you're successful, not successful. If you're successful, definitely tell us how you made that happen.
Okay, so mine happened, and I'm still practicing it, but when I got to menopause or perimenopausal, whatever you want to call it, I gained about 25 pounds without doing anything, and I kept going to my doctor, and every time I went, I was very discouraged because I wasn't losing any weight. So I made the changes that I made as I started to eat smaller amounts. And then I had read in a magazine, it was talking about that we all have this period of time where you're eating and then your body tells you you're full before you really feel full. You actually put down the fork. And so I practice the put down the fork method. So I eat whatever I want because I don't deprive myself of that and eat, a very balanced diet. And just when I start to feel full, I'll put the fork down and only eat when I'm hungry. So, and my doctor was very proud of me when I came. I had lost 9 pounds, and he was like, "How did you do that?" I was like, I told him the simple things, and he goes, "I'm very proud of you." I'm like, "Thank you." So, yeah.
And that's great because
Mhm.
what you did is you did simple things.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so
Yes.
that's one of the things when you think about reimagining those resolutions, simple things can work
Yeah.
as opposed to this total overhaul of your life that some people try to do
Right.
to meet a resolution that they've made. So that's a very good point. That small change.
I'll also add one more thing too. Sometimes when you do a resolution and let's say you want to lose weight and it doesn't happen right away, don't get discouraged, because that was, the thing that I, for a while would get discouraged. But I found when I kept doing the thing that I told myself I was going to do, in time, I got to lose that weight.
Yeah.
So, there were months where it was the same and I was like, what the heck? But then finally the body just said, okay, and released. So
The body was like, okay, we believe you now.
Yes.
We believe you're sticking to this.
it did.
How about you, Dr. Nylander?
Well, as I got older, my bones started creaking more and they were more sore. And I'm like, oh, I got to find an activity that I can do for myself so that I can be more limber and just, more energized.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, what time of the day am I going to do this in? Right? Because I'm like, I go to work in the morning, come home in the afternoon, cook dinner for my child. By 7 o'clock, as I told Dr. Reed, I'm tired. Okay. Because I get up fairly early. So I said, okay, what time of the day can it just be for me? And I'm like, all right, this 5:30 to 7:30 is my time in the morning. So I had been a member of this gym, and that I was always bad about joining a gym and never going, right? They always got my money. So finally, I got this personal trainer, actually, who literally is around the corner from my house.
Okay.
Okay. So all I have to do is roll out of bed, get in my car, and in 2 seconds, I'm there. And I do weightlifting, I do toning. And so that's my time. And it does energize me for the rest of the day, right?
Okay.
And so I'm like, oh, this is what I needed. And I've been doing this for years now. And so even my daughter's like, are you going to your trainer? I'm like, yeah. She's like, can I come? She doesn't last very long. But yeah, so I have a purpose now for getting up at 5:30 in the morning. But yeah, it has helped considerably. And I feel better. My joints feel better, getting that by body moving in the morning, very early.
So you made some other great points when you think about reimagining resolutions, right? So that self-care, you chose that and you set aside time for that. So when you make a resolution, you have to choose something that is for yourself, right? And you have to schedule it into your day, right? It has, we schedule everything, right? We're just a society that schedules everything. Nothing is spontaneous. So you schedule it into your day. And the other thing you did is you made it convenient.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you chose a personal trainer that was right around the corner from your house. There was no travel time.
Yeah, I had no more excuses.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And so that's really good when you think about wherever you are on your journey, how to incorporate those things into your everyday life.
Right.
There was another point that you made, which of course has gone out of my head, but hopefully we'll come back.
Okay.
There is that.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was telling Dr. Nylander, I love to shop, love fashion. But what I tend to do when I am feeling bored or down is to shop.
Okay.
Right. And so I had to resolve that that needed to stop.
Why? Why?
I see no problem with it.
Like no closet space, and 10 black purses. And so then what I did is I resolved that when I felt that urge, that I needed to get up and do something else.
Okay.
Because really, it's very, very easy, right? Everything is right here.
Absolutely.
Right? And I double click that Apple
Yeah.
Pay.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
so
Oh, it's too easy.
It's
Too easy now, yeah.
And then I had to replace that activity with something that was going to be beneficial to me,
Okay.
Mhm.
right? Self-care wise, right? So replace it by getting up and taking a walk,
Okay.
getting
Mhm.
up and looking at a recipe that I can engage myself with, right? It's healthy ingredients, easy to make, all those types of things.
Okay.
And so basically find some other activity that's of benefit to me
Right.
from a self-care standpoint and do that instead of double clicking on that.
The reflex, the shopping reflex.
Instead of that shopping reflex. And it worked.
Sure.
It worked. And then I used shopping as a reward for something, which is probably also not good, but we're not.
Probably not.
No, reward is
that.
a good part about sticking to your plan.
That's
It
right.
helps.
You need a reward.
You
yes.
need to give yourself little rewards.
So that's part of
Yeah.
self-care, the reward.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But not to do it out of boredom or sadness. But
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
something more positive.
Yes. Yeah.
But you
I
have
don't
to say
know.
so.
I'm debating that one. Shopping's a good alternative. So my resolve is to really be more intentional about my friendships and connections with people I care about or people I find interesting that I want to know more about. And as an introvert, it is very easy for me to sit in my own thoughts by myself and be quite content. And it takes quite a bit to go out and engage with others. So what helped me is, like Emmy did, put it in my schedule. So I wrote it down. If I write it down, it will happen person. So I wrote down what I want to do. And then know that each month I'll try to meet at least one person, whether it's coffee, dinner, we go to an event together, we take a walk, we exercise together by walking or something. And then one other thing where I go to something where, on an average day, I'd say, actually, I'll just stay home instead, decide I'm going to leave the house and go to an event, even if I'm going by myself.
Okay.
Because one, I could meet new people. In Buffalo, you're very likely to meet somebody you know anyway. So you're always going to connect with somebody. But I think at least two things per month. One-on-one with somebody, and then another one where I go to an event so I'm not just work, home, and I sort of get out of that little bubble a bit more.
That's
great.
amazing. That's really good.
So that's actually a good segue into one of those top New Year's resolutions that people made, and that was to be more mindful about improving their mental health, right? And that socialization is one of the key parts of that.
Especially this time of year.
Especially this time of year.
It's very easy to just stay curled up on your couch under a warm blanket.
Right. And we discussed that in our last episode, those winter blues, and how important that socialization is. So let's talk a bit about that mental health, improving your mental health, which was on the list. So socialization is definitely one of those things. And then being mindful, like practicing mindfulness.
Yes.
And there are lots of free apps for you to utilize to practice that mindfulness. And then other thoughts in terms of that mental health well-being.
Well, I personally encourage people like myself to engage with a professional in some form or fashion. I have a counselor. I see her once a month. And for me, I feel like I'm just venting all my frustrations. And then I end up leaving feeling better about myself. Because,
relief,
again, I'm a single mom with a 16-year-old.
God bless.
Thank you. Thank you for praying for me. I really appreciate it.
Who is pretty amazing. She's pretty amazing.
She is an amazing child. She really is. But I need that just 1 hour a month, between me and this person, and I can tell her anything and everything, that I want to discuss, and I feel like somebody's listening.
Yes. Yes.
Because sometimes we talk and you don't know who's actually listening to what you're saying, right?
Yep.
I know she's listening. She's taking notes. She's talking back to me. She's giving me information, about what we've discussed. So that makes me feel better, about myself.
Yeah. And then we've already touched on this, but self-care is
Yeah.
also part of that
Yeah.
mental health well-being.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I love a great massage.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Love a great
Amen.
massage,
Absolutely.
And so I love buying makeup and perfume, I love shopping by myself, Pam, just so you know. I prefer to be by myself.
No judgment. And you can peruse. This is a safe space. Yeah. So those are really good things in terms of mental health, right?
Yes.
Just kind of practicing those things. And the more you practice, especially mindfulness, the easier it becomes. And it can be done anywhere.
Right.
And it can be done for free.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
easy enough.
Yeah.
Same thing with socializing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to cost you a thing
Yeah.
Exactly.
to get together with
Yeah.
friends.
So I found, and I think it started through COVID. I have lots of family in North Carolina, LA, here. And some nights when I'm driving home from a delivery and I need to stay up, I know my friends in LA are still awake. Guess what?
Yeah.
So I
Point.
call them
Good
and I'm
point.
like, okay, you're gonna talk me home to my garage.
Aw,
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's become
good.
a thing with us now. So when somebody calls like 8:00, I'm like, somebody's driving home from somewhere. They need
Mhm.
they need us to
Mhm.
keep
That's
them
right.
awake, but
Yep.
it
Yep.
works and it
Yeah.
helps,
Yes.
And small lifestyle changes.
That's what I was
right?
gonna say.
Yeah.
And giving yourself, like, I think, grace. Like, let's
Mhm.
say you start something and you don't do it perfectly, then for your mental health, not being so hard, because we're all professional
Yes.
women, and for professionals out there that have very high standards, I think sometimes if you don't achieve that which you set out, you're like,
Mhm.
I've just failed. But you have to, and I've been doing that's one of my New Year, my resolutions, not being so hard on myself,
Mm.
realizing that if I set this grand goal that probably was going to take a year and I wanted it done in 3 months, not being okay, telling myself it's okay and looking at what I did accomplish and celebrating that and honoring that. So I think that has helped definitely for mental health.
Absolutely.
Not being so hard
Yeah.
on yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And it's actually part of a behavioral change process, right?
Mhm.
You do the behavior, you stop doing the behavior, and then you think, oh, I can't, so I failed,
Mm.
right?
Mhm.
But it's actually part of the change process where
Okay.
you do it, you there's no result, you continue to do it,
Yeah.
come back to it, and then there's a small change, and then you may not do it for a time, you come back to it, there's a more incremental increase, right?
Right.
And so it's finding that the grace to say, okay, I wasn't able to stick to this for the 30 days that I planned, right? But I did it for 14 days, something interrupted it. I can pick this back up,
Right.
right? And not just giving
Yes,
up
it's
on
just-
it,
yeah, exactly.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And still feeling like a success, because it's
Yes.
better that you
To have
are a
done
success for that
something.
14
Mhm.
days.
Correct.
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Something
Exactly.
you
Right,
did
and
do.
focus on the
Yeah.
positive
Yeah.
that came out of that. You were
Right.
able to do
Right.
this for 14 days,
Yeah.
and so you know that you can do it again,
Exactly.
right?
Mhm.
So one of the other things, right, is the exercise, right? Everybody wanted to exercise more. What I really love that I did not see is everybody wants to lose weight. I'm glad I didn't see that. Right? Because it's about living healthier.
Yeah.
It's not
Absolutely.
this goal of being a certain size, right? It's that you're eating better, you're sleeping better.
We want your mobility to be good. We don't want to be in pain every day.
Exactly. So I was so happy to not see that on the list.
Right.
But in terms of that exercising more, right? We're talking about incremental changes, right? So if you don't exercise, like if you're not a person who exercises, walk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
Walking is
You don't have to join a gym.
Right.
Right? To start on that exercise journey.
No,
You start with walking. And then you add on lifting some weights, which you can do at home.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
With cans.
With cans of beans, bottles of water.
Bottles of water. Right? There's a gazillion YouTube.
So many.
So true.
Workouts, right? So it costs you nothing. You're at home. You don't have to travel. The equipment is in your house. Incremental changes. And if you're someone who is exercising, right, and you want to push yourself, then maybe you want to get a personal trainer, right? But the key with a personal trainer is you have to have a goal, right?
That's
you
true.
have to understand what it is that you want to accomplish, because that's how the personal trainer helps you accomplish that, right? But it's for you to set the goal, and to know your limitations, right? And to always consult your healthcare provider first. To see what it is that you can and can't do. For me, at my age, being 63, I really switched to functional training. Right? I've done the HIIT cardio and all of that, but now I've switched to functional training because I want to be able to do those things every day that I can take care of myself. Right? I can lift that bag of groceries. I can climb the stairs. I can bend over and tie my shoes. If I fall, I can get myself up. Right?
Exactly.
Right? And there are very specific exercises that you can Google functional exercises. Those exercises that make sure that you can continue to function independently, which is really what you want, right? As you start to age.
You know how you said that just it's not just your age, because whenever my friends and I kid, we're like, I'm exercising because I want to be able, I never want to have to ring a bell and someone to come and I can't get up from somewhere. You know what I mean? I think we all exercise for function. Like some of us but you want to be able to do and be the best without anybody else's help. So
Right. And everybody tries to like fit in that, I'm supposed to do this for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, right? And sometimes that's just not practical. Right. And it's not practical to do it all at one time. So if you can do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, 10 minutes at night, you got your 10 minutes, you got your 30 minutes in. Right. So reimagining those resolutions, right, of how you're going to get to that. And so do you have something that you do in terms of exercise?
Yeah.
She's like, no.
Yeah.
She's like, dare you ask me?
Don't put me on the spot here.
No, because we're working on that too. So, I try to exercise most days and try to wake up in the morning and do it. And I was really very not good at that. I'd say, well, I could wait till the end of the day, and then you're dead tired. Your kid has homework. Oh, you forgot I need to prep for something tomorrow. And then you just don't. So dedicating that morning time. And what I do is I try not to go 2 consecutive days without exercising in some way. So if I miss a day, fine, it's okay. Things happen. You're exhausted. But the next day we're doing something, even if it's just walking, even if it's, I can't like walk for 20 minutes, but then I decide, or if I'm going to the store, I'm parking way far out, so I get that
Exactly.
extra walk.
Yes.
And I take the stairs instead of the elevator,
Right.
something like that, where I'm really intentional about getting a little bit more physical activity in, even if it's not a formal exercise.
Right. And I
Yeah.
love that you said physical activity, because that's really the term we should be using
That's
as
true.
opposed to exercise, right?
Yep.
It's physical
True.
activity.
Yeah.
True.
And whatever that physical activity may be, right? It may be dancing around your house, right?
Those are always fun. Yeah.
Right.
Dance
Yeah,
party with the
exactly.
kid, and then you're like, oh,
Right.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
When he asked to play wrestling, I'm like, sure. Then I'm like, well, that counts because I'm tired.
That's right. Cleaning your house.
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Up and down
Yeah.
the
Up and
stairs,
down the
bending
stairs,
over,
yeah.
scrubbing the tub,
Yeah.
changing the
All
bed
of that.
sheets,
All of
doing,
that.
downstairs to get the laundry
Yeah.
from because my
Yep.
laundry's downstairs. Go
Yeah.
downstairs, get the
Yep.
laundry, bring it upstairs.
Yep.
All of that counts,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
I have a
Physical
friend who
activity.
says you could always swap exercise with vigorous cleaning.
Yes, absolutely. Vigorous
Jesus.
cleaning.
Vigorous cleaning is a
Wow.
good workout. I'm like, you're right.
Absolutely true. You're carrying heavy things, right? It's a
You
heavy
are,
laundry
Yeah.
basket, right?
It's like if you really get in there with
Oh
the
my
mop,
goodness.
work out your arms.
Cleaning out that oven is
Yeah.
it's a
If you're on
lot of
all
work.
fours and you say, okay,
Yes.
today I'm doing the baseboards,
Yes.
then
Yes,
Yes.
right. That's right.
Baseboards. Who does baseboards?
I do
I'm
too.
one of those people. That's a behavior I should try to change. Speaking of
You need
behavioral
to get you
changes,
down, hands and knees.
let's change that behavior. And then in terms of eating healthier, thinking about that, really, it's about trying to make sure that you get adequate protein,
Mhm.
some fat, and really try to avoid
Reduce the sugar.
those sugars,
Right.
right? And however that looks for
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
is how it looks for
Yeah.
you, right?
Yeah.
If that means you buy that rotisserie chicken instead of trying to bake it, there's your protein,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Easy
Right.
enough.
Right.
So those types of things in terms of eating healthier and mindful, right?
Yeah.
Think about that choice, this versus that.
Right.
What's going to make you feel better once you eat it, right? You eat that sugar, you know you're gonna crash.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
30 minutes, and then you're gonna be tired, you want a nap. But if you eat
Right.
that protein, now you're energized and you
Right.
can do more.
And what you
Right.
could substitute, I have a sweet tooth myself, and you always think, oh, I love cake, like I'll want cake, but then I'll eat a banana or I'll eat dried cranberries, and actually the sugar crave is fixed,
Right.
and I'm like, oh, I'm good. I don't even have to eat that much.
Right.
You associate the craving with this one thing that's full of calories that's unhealthy, and then you switch it to something else, and like, oh, okay, I got my fix. I'm good.
Right.
Good.
Right.
So I think we've hit a lot of great points about how you can reimagine those resolutions that you made
Right.
and do things that will lead you towards meeting whatever goal that you set for
Mhm.
yourself, right? And
Right.
it should always be a goal that you set for yourself, not for anything else other than that.
Right.
Any final thoughts?
I mean, the only thought I have, like when you were talking about how to substitute the cravings, one thing I found when I was doing my weight loss journey is sometimes I would think I was hungry, but when I started drinking more water, I found that I was thirsty a lot of the time. And it takes about sometimes 5 or 10 minutes. And once after I've been drinking more water, I now can discern between I'm thirsty or I'm hungry. And I think here in America, we don't drink enough water, more sodas, but I think if you make even that small substitution, that was something that helped me have less cravings and things like that.
And that's a really great point because that falls into every single one of these categories,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Staying hydrated.
Yep.
You feel better from a
Yeah.
mental standpoint, more energy. You
Yeah.
have more energy to exercise.
Yep.
You're less likely to overeat because you're well hydrated. So that's an
Exactly.
excellent
Yeah.
point. I'm
I
glad you said that.
remember as a resident and you're always on the go. You don't have time to eat. You barely have time to eat.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my God, I'd go home and I'd crash. And then I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten in, I don't know, 12 hours or had a drink of
Yeah.
water.
Had anything
Yeah.
to drink.
Right.
Or
Right.
having a drink
Yeah.
of water. And
Yes.
I'm like, once I started hydrating myself, I could feel better. I could stay up longer.
Mm.
You know, yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
Very good point. So I think the only other thing that I want to say is something that Melissa said is give yourself grace with
Mhm.
all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as long as you're trying, right,
Yeah.
those incremental things that you do all add up and
Absolutely.
will get you to that goal that you've set.
They will. Maybe not
Um,
as fast as you want.
right,
That's
right,
the thing. But
right.
Right.
but you'll
get
get there.
there.
But
Yeah.
you'll get there.
Yeah.
You'll
Yes.
get there.
Yeah.
You'll get there. Well, thank you all.
Thank
Great
you. You're
discussion.
welcome.
I've learned
Very
so
good.
much about you all.
When are we going shopping, Pam?
Only as a treat.
That's right.
We deserve a reward for today.
So I would like to remind you that this brings us to the end of our episode,
Yeah.
first of all.
Mhm.
We're really happy that you joined us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please subscribe to our podcast and share it with your friends. The information that has been shared on Healing with Her is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the guidance of your healthcare professional or physician before you do any of these things that we've discussed. And the views expressed by the host and guest are their own and do not necessarily reflect those of their institutions or employers. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.